Good morning, good morning. All right, let's get started. So, hello. Happy Monday. I hope that you had a relaxing, a restful, a joyous weekend, as weekends are so deservingly to be. We are planning a wedding, and so I feel like we don't get to rest until July. But that's okay, it's fun. Welcome this morning. This is Morning Lives with me, Melissa Agnes, a daily space for leaders just like you to stay grounded and connected in things like truth and real perspective and connection to yourself, to the divine and source or co-creator or God or universe or quantum, whatever you want to call it, as well as to those you are here to lead as you move the mountains that you are here to move. So every morning I show up live. Most mornings I show up live. When I don't show up, it's because I either have a meeting in the city like tomorrow morning or I'm traveling. But other than that, I am here every single Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. live on IG and LinkedIn. The recordings go to LinkedIn, YouTube, and everywhere that podcasts are streamed. So if you miss a live, you can catch the replay. And I show up to share one perspective that is meant to empower, inspire, ground, open perspective, because I think that's so important for visionary leaders we have to keep opening our perspectives to better understand the complexities of the dynamics of the world that we navigate and the mission that we're here to lead. And then I lead one coherence grounding where we get into coherence, heart-brain coherence, we get into alignment. You get to start your day off with a regulated nervous system in clarity, in wholeness, and from the place that you truly want to begin your day or continue to lead your day and step into everything that's to come. So that's what these morning lives are. And my ask in return for showing up every morning to do this is that you share it. If you receive value from these morning lives, please share them with other people who would also likely receive value. Because my vision, my goal is that we have a world filled with even more regulated nervous system regulation leaders who are out there following their dreams, leading with their vision, leading from their calling, and really stepping into the ownership of that. I truly believe that would help us make this world a better place than it currently is. And I think there's a lot of room for growth and improvement there. So that is my ask. If you have questions, comments, this isn't meant to be a monologue, so please share them. Judith, I see you. Good morning. I'm so glad that you're here. Please share them in the comments from either LinkedIn or IG if you're watching live, or in the comments if you're watching the recording, or send me a DM. Okay, all of that being said, today I want to talk about something that's like so pervasive. This topic is, I could spend an hour on this topic. I'm not going to. I'm going to spend 10 to 15 minutes on this topic. But all of that to say that it's a big topic, and I'm not going to do it justice in 10 to 15 minutes, but I do want to open the conversation. I do want to open the perspective and curiosity, and then hopefully take the conversation further if you feel called to do so with me or with yourself, right? Opening perspective so we can self-evaluate. Okay. What I put is exploring how to respond when people are upset in life and in leadership. The average person reacts when they're upset rather than responds. So today I want to explore why. I also want to explore what that means. And I want to explore effective ways to begin to lead through those moments, because those moments are extremely challenging and they can be very triggering. Sorry, I have Kiara here with me today and I'm scared she's going to knock my computer over. Hey, bumps. So let's talk about first responding versus reacting. When you react, you are coming from a place, or when somebody reacts, they are coming from a place of unconscious reaction. That's what I mean by that. I mean that they are triggered, they're in an emotional state, they're being reactive rather than waiting to respond to get more into regulation. As an example, of waiting to respond, you'd want to do that. You'd want to, sorry guys, Kiara, you got it. I'm so scared that she's going to knock this over, so I apologize. But she wants to cuddle this morning, so she's here. Okay, leave that please. Okay, sorry. So responding would be more like, okay, before I respond or react to this situation, I realize that I'm upset. Let me go regulate my nervous system and come from a place of more clarity, more groundedness, more regulated emotions, right? That would be responding, put very simply. Reacting is when you just let that fire control what you do, what you say. Reacting looks like blaming, shaming, guilting. It looks like deflecting. It looks like saying things that you don't necessarily mean and will later regret, that might destroy the relationship, etc., etc. So that's what I mean by reacting. And most people actually react when they are triggered or when they're in an emotional state rather than responding. And I chalk that up to living in a world, being taught and educated and programmed in a world that doesn't actually fully know how to do this. We don't live in a society that has taught us as children how to truly effectively emotionally regulate and understand the reasons for our responses or our reactions, etc. And so I'm not a blamer. I don't look to blame anyone. I do look to help leaders like you know how to better move through these circumstances or these situations, because they can be really, really challenging. And when I do crisis work, or when I used to do crisis work, and when I still kind of get called into it now, most of the crises that organizations face, in my experience of over 15 years, stems from cultural crises. There's something within the culture that could have been better, could have been stronger, could have been more connective, could have been whatever it might be, that would have prevented the situation from getting to the escalated point that it gets to when I get called into it. And a big part of that is because, I'm not blaming here, but just giving perspective and looking at one angle, is because most people react rather than respond. And so when people are reacting, like I said, I'm not going to be able to do this justice, but I do want to kind of speak fast and give perspectives, and I'd love for you to take this away and just like ponder it and then come back and talk to me about it via DM or email or whatever it might be, because it's a really important conversation and really important thing for leaders to truly grasp and understand. When you're reacting, when somebody is in a reactive state, other things could be happening too, but two things are likely happening in addition to whatever else might be happening. One, they're only looking at the situation from their perspective. They're not zooming out to get a better understanding of the whole, of how the situation, of other people's dynamics, or how other people might be living the experience, right? And that's human nature, is to go like, how does this affect me and me alone? And I see that often, and it's unintentional. It's not malicious, it's just a reaction. And then the other piece of a reaction oftentimes is you're reacting from an old wound. You're reacting from a circumstance from the past rather than the present circumstance of today, because the circumstance of the past that you're reacting from is, for lack of a better way of saying it, is an unhealed aspect of your life experience. And the body, the ego, wants to self-protect and self-preserve. And if you have an unhealed wound, that unhealed wound likely, in a lot of cases, can very quickly jump to the forefront, to the driver's seat of a situation to protect you, so that you don't relive that traumatizing experience or that, unfortunate situation that you don't want to have to relive. And so you are reacting from the past rather than from the present. And so as a leader, as a visionary leader, as a mission-driven, purpose-driven leader, what does this mean for you? There's kind of two sides to look at. One is understanding this, right? I told you we're going super high level today, but it's still worth exploring and understanding further. Understanding this, when you are in a situation and you are dealing with people who are reactive, first, consciously have this awareness of, they're in an emotional state right now. Their nervous system is dysregulated. Their prefrontal cortex is probably shutting down. They're likely reacting from an old wound, not from the present moment. Their reaction probably has nothing to do with me. Maybe it does. That's the second piece. But hold on. In this moment, it's about understanding where they're coming from, so that if nothing else, we can have more compassion. And we can help to meet, as visionary leaders, we want to help to meet people where they're at in their emotionality. I say it often that every fear-based emotion has a need that's longing to be met. So when we can kind of come out of our bodies, come out of with our awareness, come out of the situation and go, oh, let me understand. I might be upset, right? As the leader, I might be triggered, I might be upset, but this is a leadership skill, is being able to go, okay, let me hold off on what I'm feeling just for a second, come out of the situation and look more holistically at why this person might be having this reaction, why they might be saying the things that they're saying or coming from the place that they're coming from. Right? If nothing else, it'll give you deeper perspective, it'll give you deeper compassion, and we need to meet people with compassion. We need more compassion in the world. And it's a leader's responsibility to be able to do that. So that's one angle, is like when you're leading and somebody else, or you're navigating a situation, maybe it's a coworker, not a leadership situation, maybe it's with your spouse, maybe it's with a dear friend, whatever the case might be, right? Is going, okay, where are they coming from? They're probably coming from an old wound, and they're probably just looking at themselves and not the whole situation, because that's human nature. That's not to blame or shame. That's just human nature. The second piece of this, that is the most important piece, is self-leadership. If you want to be, you can decide in this moment right now, do you want to be a leader who reacts more often than not, or who responds more often than not? I say more often than not because we're human and nobody's ever going to be perfect, right? We're all going to have our moments of, whoops, that might not have been the best, highest, the highest version of who I want to be, right? I have those, we all have those. So what can we strive for? We can strive for them in the most amount of circumstances. Who do you want to be? You get to decide that right now. Do you want to be somebody who reacts more often than not, or responds more often than not? If you choose to respond, that you want to be a person who responds more often than not, then your job, first and foremost, in my very strong opinion, is, and my experience, is, and this is what I do, when I'm upset, first of all, you never lessen how you feel or tell yourself you shouldn't feel this way. Like, you are human, you are allowed to feel. There is no wrong way to feel. There is, however, a wrong way to react or respond to how you feel in alignment with who you want to be and how you want to lead and how you want to show up, right? So in alignment with that, that's integrity. So when you are in a state of this situation is upsetting to me, maybe somebody did something and it triggers you and it makes you angry, whatever the case might be. The first step, first of all, is not to bypass those emotions. Second is to get with yourself and to understand where you're coming from. Why? Because oftentimes, and this might be upsetting to hear, oftentimes when something upsets us, it's because there's something within us that is ready to be looked at and explored and likely healed from your own past. This doesn't mean that it's your fault, that the situation is your fault. This doesn't mean that you should feel guilty or that you're to blame. That is not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is essentially what I'm saying is this. When somebody upsets me, right? Let's say it's a friend, somebody upsets me. I will notice that I'm upset. I will work through my upset, my anger, my hurt, whatever it might be. And I will do that on my own. I will not take that to them because that's not theirs yet, right? That is a reaction if I were to do that. Instead, I will go, okay, I'm going to go to I'll go to my fiance, or I'll go to my dog, or I'll go to meditation or self-regulation with breathing, or a friend, whatever it might be. I will go and I will move through my emotions, right? To get to a more regulated state. Then the second thing that I will do is I will go, okay, what's mine here? Not what's my fault. What is mine? What am I coming from an old wound? And am I coming out of the situation and really understanding their perspective? Or am I just thinking about my perspective and my angle in this, right? And so once you do those things, then you can come back to the situation and say, okay, I have a more holistic vision, understanding of what's going on. I've moved through the heaviest portion of my emotions, right? So I've cleaned up that. I'm coming in regulation. And I'm at the very least understanding of what's mine and what's not. I can be upset that somebody did something, and I can move through that, and I can look at that and go why did that upset me? Maybe there's something here that I can look at and learn about myself and heal for myself. And also, I can come back and go, you know what? There's not. In this situation, I'm really upset by the thing that they did or the choice that they made or whatever it might be. And I'm going to go have that conversation. And then when you have that conversation and it's not about you did this and blaming and shaming, it is coming and saying, hey, here was my experience. I'd love to hear your experience and better understand so that we can come to some kind of a regulation or a resolve, whatever that might look like. So this is very kind of ambiguous, but what I want to look at today, or really like leave you with, and we'll get into our grounding coherence in a second, is this is what leadership actually looks like. Self-leadership first. Where are you accountable? What is yours to move through and to deal with and to look at and to heal so that you can actually come to a sticky situation where other people are dysregulated, are in fear-based emotions, are angry, are upset, or whatever they are, and you can meet them in that with clarity, with resonance, with deeper compassion, with a strong knowing and an anchoring in where you stand in that, what's yours and what's not. That is a skill, one, that I teach and we embody in the Visionary Leadership Mastermind. So if this is something that you're like, I would love to be stronger at that, that would be amazing for my life if I was able to do that, just like with a deeper skill level, go to melissaagnes.com and go and apply for the Visionary Leadership Mastermind. Like, go right now. And it is like, if more leaders did this, we would have less blaming, we would have less shaming, we would have less guilting, we would have less deflection, we would have more accountability. We would have less pain and suffering in the world. And it starts with ourselves and being able to come out and better understand the situation from a whole, not just from your own perspective. And then it goes to regulating your emotionality and figuring out what is yours and what isn't, and leading from that place, that regulated place of clarity. All right, that was my share. And I see this all the time. All the time. In my work, in my personal life, when I walk around in the streets of New York City, like, most people don't know how to do that. So it's the leader's job to know how to do this. It starts by being grounded and aligned and in coherence. So let's do that. Let's kick off our week regulated. So what we're going to do is our coherence drop-in. So for those of you who are new, welcome. If you are driving, please don't do this. This is a thing that you need to do when you have time to like sit and be still. If you have time and the opportunity right now to sit and be still, but there's people around, maybe you're in a public space, whatever it might be, and so you feel a little silly, like maybe they're going to wonder what you're doing. It feels a little uncomfortable. Invitation to feel uncomfortable and do it anyway, because we need a world of leaders who know how to regulate their nervous system, because I promise that as you do this, you will step more deeply into the person you actually want to be, like that highest version of who you were here to be, and people will feel it, and then they will start asking you questions, and you get to lead by example. They'll ask you questions about how you do that. All right, so all you have to do is breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth, and listen to my voice. And remember that you are your highest authority. This is about building a deeper connection to your body, to your access to more clarity, access to alignment, access to infinite wisdom, access to your heart and gut intelligence centers, which are way wiser, way wiser than your brain is, right? And getting access to that so that you could lead your day with more clarity and more wisdom and all the things. So, getting comfortable, closing distractions, please. Getting comfortable, sinking into your seat, and really just gifting yourself this 10 minutes. And when you're ready, closing down your eyes or softening your gaze, whichever feels the best for you. And let's just start that breath. That breath is in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Allowing yourself to get still If your brain kicks up with chatter, that's okay. That means that you're alive. That's a great thing. And you get to say to your brain, in a few minutes I will come back and I will listen to everything you have to tell me. But right now, I'm going to be with my breath and I'm going to be in my body so that when I come back and listen to you, I hear you even more clearly. It may feel silly to talk to yourself like that, but it works. All right, on your next exhale, so on your next inhale, you're in through the mouth, in through the nose. On your next exhale through the mouth, let's follow that breath all the way down your body with your consciousness, with your awareness. What you're doing is you are bringing that awareness to your sit bones. And my invitation is to feel into the sensation of the chair, the seat that you're sitting on, below or against your body. Bringing your awareness to those sensations. What do you feel? Can you get even more comfortable? Can you shift and just kind of let some of the heaviness of what you carry out a little bit? If you were to take that heaviness, your stresses, your tension, and say, you know what, I'm going to give that to this seat right now. Notice how it doesn't mind and it doesn't drop you. Which means that in this moment, you are safe to be present. You are safe to be in your body. You are safe to have the biggest sigh of like exhale, to let go, and to breathe. And on your next inhale, in through the nose, bringing with your awareness, bringing that breath from your sit bones. Let's kind of pull it up. Pull that breath up with pulling it in through your nose, up through your belly, and landing right in your heart space. And if it's supportive, putting a hand on your heart so that you can help your awareness come and meet the sensation of the hand on your heart. This is just kind of tactics for helping you choose where you want to bring your awareness. And as you breathe in through the nose, imagining that it is your heart that is opening up and it is your heart that is pulling in that oxygen. So your chest cavity expands. Maybe you imagine your heart's electromagnetic field expanding with every inhale beyond your bodily border, and just letting that inhale through your heart feel so good, so nourishing. That's oxygen, that's life force that you are pulling in through your heart space. And with every exhale through your mouth, following that breath down into your body, into your belly. And if that's supportive, in this case, to put your hand on your belly, to bring your awareness there, to really feel that exhale go sink into your hand. Invitation to do so. With every exhale with every inhale through the mouth, opening up that heart space, pulling in that oxygen, letting it feel so good. And with every exhale through the mouth, sinking more deeply into the body, into your belly, and letting that exhale really calm you, really relax you, finding that safety that exists within you. Letting this breath feel so good, because this is your gift to yourself right now. And our breath is our life force. Our breath is meant to feel good. Things are allowed to feel good. Things are allowed to flow with ease. Just noticing what you notice as you continue to move that breath, expanding through the heart space and sinking more deeply into the belly. What do you notice? There is absolutely no wrong answer. Keeping that breath moving. Last few moments of breathing. Letting it feel good. Letting it expand you. This breath pattern signals to your body that you're safe, which is a way when you're feeling stress, when you're feeling worked up or reactive to life's circumstances and things that are beyond our control, remembering to sit with this breath for just a few minutes. 3 to 4 minutes is all we actually really need. In through the nose, opening up that chest space, out through the mouth, letting it feel good as you sink into your body. This breath pattern signals to your body that you're safe, so therefore that you can get into a regulated state, into coherence. It helps to give you that perspective. It helps to create safety in your body so that you feel safe enough to explore in a situation where you're reactive or triggered, what might be yours. Because that can be really challenging to look at. To look at the truth of what's mine in this situation can be really challenging. When we do this breath and we ask that question from this place, from this breath, the safety that we're creating in our body and regulation of our nervous system actually makes it easier and safer to ask that question and to seek the answers. So your breath is such a powerful, powerful leadership tool and skill. And what we do each morning is we just exercise this skill. So there's no wrong. Showing up is the work, and you've done that. So as we take our last few moments of breath, bring a hand to your heart if it's not already there, and let's take a moment of deep gratitude. Gratitude to the access that you have through your breath and through your body. Access to self-regulate, access to self-lead, access to clarity, access to coherence, access to things that allow you to be the best version of who you choose to be. You can be grateful for that access. And gratitude to yourself for choosing to show up this morning and do this work. Because that's not always the easy answer or the easy choice. And you chose it. And I am grateful to you for that. When you're ready, wiggling your fingers and your toes, and coming back to the screen, and if you feel called, I'd love to hear how that was for you. And in closing, most people, when they get triggered emotionally, when something happens that upsets them, they're reactive rather than responsive, for just out of simple lack of being taught otherwise. Most people in our world are reactive versus responsive because we haven't set them up for success. Our society, not we, it's not on us, our society has not set our world up for success in that way. But as a leader, as a visionary leader, as a mission-driven leader, it's so important that you learn that skill, and it's a forever learning. I'm not always great at this skill. right? Like, and I'm very far along in my journey, and yet sometimes I don't get it right because I'm human. It's just about, and that's not about guilting or shaming. I don't actually believe really in guilt. I believe that guilt is a signal that we maybe did something or acted in a way that wasn't in alignment with the best version of who we want to be. So we take that signal and we choose to do better and learn from that mistake and do better next time and right wrongs, make amends, whatever it might be. And we move on. We don't hold the guilt. So the biggest lessons here that I want to share, the biggest takeaways that I want to share is, one, when somebody is reacting, just remember in that moment, if you can, that they're coming from a place of probably an old wound that they're unconscious to. And that old wound is what they are reacting from in this moment, not the current situation. They also probably, likely, are not coming out of the situation to go, what's more than just my part of this, right? Like in the sense of like how I'm affected. Maybe the other person is having a really bad day. Like most people don't have that awareness or the ability to come out and go, okay, what's more of the story here? But you do. You do. And that's what leadership is. It's leading the way. It's leading by example, and that example starts with self-leadership. So when you find yourself in a state where you are reactive, or where you might be reactive, right? There's an opportunity for you to either be reactive or responsive. Which one do you want to choose? If today you've chosen that you want to be responsive, then in the moments where you are triggered by an upset emotion of some sort, before you simply react, you are fully permissioned to take a step, to back, to breathe, to move through that emotion. I've talked about moving through emotions and effective, healthy ways to do that in other episodes. So you can go back and listen to those. Move through that emotion, and then you get to do the things that most people can't or don't know how to yet, which is, what is your part in this? If you're reactive, if you're triggered in some way, there's probably an old wound, or there's probably something that is popping up that you could benefit from looking at, exploring, and healing. And if there's not, they just did something that's really upsetting and that's like in a misalignment with your core values or something like that, at least you've looked at yourself first and said, okay, what is my role in this? What do I have to move through? What do I have to clean up? So that you can go back to the situation in a place of grounded coherence, regulated emotions, alignment, knowing that you've done your side of it and meeting those people or that person in the most effective way so that you can actually get to a resolve rather than a deterioration or an escalation of the situation or of the relationship. All right. Tomorrow, I will not be doing a morning live. However, if you would like to receive a morning grounding from me tomorrow, write me a DM or write in the comments, write remembrance, and I'll connect with you to get your information. So that, because I send out text messages and emails every morning for those who are subscribed to the morning lives. So all you have to do is just say that you want that. And then tomorrow morning, instead of doing the live, I will send you a recording of me doing, guiding you through a coherence grounding drop-in, so that you can still do this tomorrow morning with me if you so choose. Or you can listen to the past recordings, whatever you want to do. But if that's interesting to you, just let me know. Send me a message that lets me know and we'll get you set up with that. But I won't be here tomorrow, so I will be here on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, live streaming on LinkedIn and IG for another episode of Morning Lives with me, Melissa Agnes. If this was beneficial to you, please share it. Please share it. That is my ask. And if you are saying, I want to be really, really great at this skill, I want to lead from this place of like this emotional regulation and clarity and like ability essentially to find equanimity. I did a whole episode on equanimity, so that's an interesting one, a really, really powerful one. But I want to lead from equanimity, which is absolute like inner peace all the time. Then the Visionary Leadership Mastermind at melissaagnes.com. Go check it out. The doors are now open for application. It is by application only because I am very, very particular with this container. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's so potent. It's filled with such phenomenal leaders who are doing incredible work and who are really dedicated to being the best version of themselves and leading from this place of resonance and grounded authority. So if that's interesting to you, go check out the Visionary Leadership Mastermind. It kicks off in April, so doors are closing soon. I would love to chat with you about it. It's by application only. melissaagnes.com is where you'll find that. Below the recording of this video, I will also put a link to that below the recording of the video. Okay, and with that, I wish you a beautiful day. If something triggers you today, just a reminder to just get still, move through that emotion as quick as as best you can, and ask yourself, what's yours? What's the bigger perspective? And just not with guilt, not with shame, not because it's your fault, just because that's what it takes to really truly step into the full capacity of your visionary leadership. Okay, have a beautiful day. I will see you Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern.